Hi, and welcome to the Virtual Review. I'm Grant, this is
Adam.
and today we'll be talking about Smash Hit, a game made for the Gear VR. Over your shoulder, if you're inside your VR headset, you'll find footage of me demoing the game, as well as screen captured footage of what's going on inside of my headset. This game is an absolute blast, Adam. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So Smash Hit, it's an on-rail shooter where you have to break glass with your balls. So basically it's a simple premise. As I said, it's an on-rail shooter, so you're hurtling forward through space. Sometimes you're rotating. There's all sorts of traps they set for you. Sometimes there's glass cubes flying at your face. There's glass panes shooting up in front of you. So basically just trying to survive. You have a limited number of balls, and you can increase your ball count by shooting at the pyramids. And sometimes they're different shapes for 3 or 5 or 10 balls.
As time progresses, you get the option to get more balls the sooner you shoot them. There'll be and I don't know what that shape is, but multiple pyramids. If you hit it early, you'll get a handful of balls, but it will shrink down to like a pyramid, which will give you less balls.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I didn't notice that till my last playthrough, actually, so...
You gotta be quick.
You gotta be...
And if you're gonna survive, you gotta grab a hair trigger. You gotta be ready to fire those balls at any second. Otherwise, you get smacked in the face with pizza glass. You don't need... I use the single-handed controller, firing away with my trigger. I think, Adam, you use the gamepad.
That's the one, yep. Same premise though, just using the A button, and everything else is done by looking in the virtual space with the headset.
And even if you don't have any controllers, you can just use the button on the side of the Gear VR to be firing your balls.
Tapping on the side, firing balls.
And also, no need for a swivel chair or anything with this game. You're on the rails, you're going straight ahead. You could sit in a cozy couch.
Absolutely.
And you'll be fine.
Although sometimes, did you find in the later levels, you're trying to hit the pyramids and you'll just want to sneak around past one and get one that's just gone past you? So it could be handy to have that quick swivel action.
It could be, but at the same time, I found usually if I turned around to try and capture something that I left behind, I was about to go face first into another plane of glass.
Absolutely. It's just another trap they set for you.
So we run through about 11 levels. I got, when I did a front to back run through of this today, I got through it with no continues. I'd played it a few times before, but I wanted to see if I could, thank you very much. Wanted to see if I could get through it.
I think it deserves some applause.
Front to back without a continue. I wrote down what I got. I did it in 35 minutes, and once you hit the 11th level, you go into infinity mode.
Endless mode, yeah, that's the one.
And we'll talk about its save system in a moment, but my score was 13,367. That was as far as I could get. If anyone else is watching and wants to top that score,
post your scores.
Let us know. I'd like to see it. So, the saving mechanism.
Yeah, this is what I found quite interesting about the game design. So it's got a bit of a survival element to it in that every time you hit a checkpoint or a new level, it saves the number of balls that you have. So if you just scrape through, say you just finished level 6 and you get to level 7 and you've only got 5 balls left, that means you have to start the next level with that number of balls. So it's almost like those old survival horror games like Resident Evil, where you had a limited number of save points and you had to conserve your ammunition. So I thought that was an interesting concept to bring to an on-rail shooter like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's even because you don't die, you only run out of balls.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it. So I knew I kind of had a chance if I kept hold of my balls, I could get through it front to back today. That even though I knew there was a good chance I was going to make it to the end, I was tense as through this whole game.
For sure.
And it's got this wonderful rhythm to it. Like it plays you really well. It will start throwing everything at you and overwhelm you. but once it's overwhelmed you, it knows to chill out and slow down.
Absolutely.
Let you
Really
relax,
good pacing.
get your breath, and then it slowly amps up again. I thought I really appreciated that it knew how to push you, but it also knew when to go, all right, enough's enough. We're going to sit back and let you relax for a moment.
Yeah, and even things like the levels with the fans spinning around, and sometimes they're spinning towards you or away, or sometimes they're spinning on that axis. And just deciding, do I waste one of my balls because this may not hit me? You know, you have to make that decision because it does have that survival element. So you want to keep as much in your collection of balls as possible for the later stages of the game.
And I found I was just waiting for the last second to fire away a lot of the time.
That's one of the things. That's one of the really satisfying things about this game is like when a glass pane pops up right in front of you and you just wait till the very last second, and the sound of it breaking, the physics associated with it spinning around, and panes hitting other panes and cubes hitting other cubes. It's all happening so
the
fast.
The physics is gorgeous.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And it's not just thin panes of glass. You've got big chunky pieces of glass. You've got swinging pieces of metal on glass beams, and which brings me to the level design. It keeps it interesting. There's some beautiful changes. I think that's around level 7. Everything goes orange, and there's peaks everywhere. But each level has its own kind of aesthetic choice and color design.
And later in the game, they start rotating the player too. And I found myself almost leaning against it a few times until I got used to being forced to rotate this certain way. So
once you're in the game for a while and you're focused on playing, sometimes you feel like you're falling face first downwards, and sometimes it feels like you're spinning through the air. It's really lovely. And once again, you get that motion drop occasionally, like, oh wait a minute, am I falling down? But same deal, they give you that feeling, but they know not to push it too much. So I didn't get any sickness from the game. It is quite smooth.
No, me either. Yeah.
But I did get that slight
absolutely. It's a good rush too.
I think there's a couple of hours of gameplay in this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we had played through this before, and I'm sure it took me a lot longer the first time. Like I played through it once and used one continue. I think it was level 7 this time. I'm sure I got stuck first time through, and we were just playing it and playing it and playing it. And to me, I love games like that rote learning and memorizing patterns and things like that, like coming from the old school.
So I got through it front to back in about half an hour, but it is something I'm going to play again. And especially now, there's a best score for me to beat and try and get further. By the time I got into that endless zone and where I died, it appears it must be a loop. I think it's maybe a series of about 3 rooms that slowly get faster.
It's actually
and
randomized,
faster.
so if you play it a few times, they definitely have similar components that they put together in these chunks. But it's almost like a roguelike. Like it's randomized elements, so you don't know what to expect each time. Once you hit that endless mode, it's a completely different experience every time you play it.
What I found where I got up to was the whole world started turning, so it was it felt like it was looping to me, but the physics of the world were changing as I went through.
Sure.
At which point I found it really challenging, very sort of mind-bending, and just a blast.
What about the sound design too? Like the glass shattering.
Yeah, it's like if you love grabbing a stubby bottle and smashing it into the ground, this is your game. It is consistently satisfying.
Absolutely.
Hearing that glass shatter.
And conversely, when you get hit in the face with a pane, you almost feel it. That sound it makes, and that red flash across the screen is like, burn.
And you're collecting more and more balls as you go along. If you are hitting your pyramids, like your tokens where you're picking up the balls, I think it's every 10 in a row. you start off with one ball, then you get two
That's
balls.
right. And as soon as you miss one, you go back to one. Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought I picked that up this time around. I wasn't sure how that mechanic worked. So
And I think 5 was as far as I got. I don't
yeah,
know
me
if you can
too.
get to
5.
6.
I'm pretty sure it caps out at 5 balls at once, but it only takes one from you each time you shoot.
And then you can start spraying. Like you
Yeah.
see a couple of pyramids in a distance, and you can fire smack down the middle.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
collecting a few up at a time.
My only gripe with this game, and it's very, very minor, is when you hit that infinite, that green sphere, there's no real notification to say, hey, it's about to end. So it's kind of like a star in Mario Brothers. You get the music and everything flashes. Well, here you get a little notification towards the top of the screen and a timer, but there's no sound cue, there's no real visual flash or anything like that. So you have to be so careful not to keep firing, otherwise you'll start firing your own balls.
Oh,
after
you're
the
talking
infinite
about
mode.
the multi-ball or the infinite
Yeah,
ball.
yeah. So the infinite ball mode, you're spraying them everywhere, and that you have to be careful not to keep spraying them once that timer runs out.
Right, well, I didn't have that problem with this.
Is that right?
Each time the infinite shoot ran out of bullets, it automatically stopped pumping
Oh,
them out.
that's interesting. Okay.
So I don't
Yeah,
know
okay.
what happened there. Maybe I was just quick on the game.
I'm probably just a
Stop it.
noob as well.
All the graphics are crisp and smooth. There's nothing too wild or complex going on graphically here.
No, it's just really well designed graphically, and one subtle little touch that I notice is the texture on the glass. It just looks like this, like frosted glass.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
you get to see it so up close to your face. So
Yeah, especially when you get smashed in the face. Yeah.
for sure.
I'm not sure. I think I paid $4.50 for the app.
I can't remember. I bought mine over 12 months ago, but I think it was roughly about that price then.
Yeah, so you don't need any specific controllers for this, really, but I found it much better to have this in my hand firing
Yeah,
away than
absolutely.
tapping the side of your head.
Yeah, you can give yourself a bit of a headache doing this all the time, but it's good to know that if you don't have a controller yet, you can use it that way. It's just nice to have something in your hands that you can push a button on, I feel anyway.
So get in there, have a go at this, and I'm sure you'll pick it up a couple of times. Once you get a feel for it, I highly recommend getting in there and trying to run through it front to back. It gives it a real nice sense of urgency and
Absolutely.
excitement, trying to, break that barrier. And I'd like to see if some peeps can throw us some scores.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'll have to get around to playing through the whole thing. I got very, very close yesterday. I did get to infinite mode, but I did run out of balls once, so I'll get around to doing that too, and I'll post up a score.
Awesome. Pick up your balls. That will do us for this episode of the virtual review. We've been talking about Smash Hit, and next episode we'll be talking about a music demo called Polydome.
Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting one, isn't it? But anyway, we'll cover that next week.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I'm Grant. This is
Adam.
And we'll see you on the next episode of the virtual review. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. This episode of the virtual review was brought to you by Sense Immerse. Immerse your senses in a new reality.